Good evening, everybody. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? What's happening to you? What's happening with you? This is the King of Oldies with the Music Lovers LTD live Friday night show. Come on, everybody, get in the groove. Everybody, get in the groove. It's Friday night and it's all right, man. Once again, good evening to you and welcome to the show. Music Lovers LTD Friday Night Live Show. And I'm so happy that it looks like we're on the way we're supposed to be on, doing the Facebook Live show and also YouTube. So again, I say welcome to everybody. We've got everybody here. I think Lamar's probably at the store getting some pretzels for us, so he'll be in a little while later. Otherwise, we've got everybody here. Diane is here, the professor's here, Kevin is here, Jay is here, and Mr. Smith Brothers himself. Andrew is here. Our special guest, Mr. George Kerr, is here with us. We're going to start right in on the conversation. I told everybody on Facebook that there was a possibility that Billy Brown would be joining us. He called me about an hour ago and said he can't because he's in Chicago doing a show and he won't be able to join us tonight, but he promises that once he gets back home and gets settled, that he'll call and we'll have a complete show with just him. So that's what we got. We got the man who had a hand in their career, along with many other careers. So we're going to concentrate on the moments / Ray Goodman and Brown tonight. The legendary George Kerr. Everybody say good evening to George.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, George.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening, my brother. How are you, man? I mean, that's just like one of the questions that we ask each other all the time. We've been talking back and forth. How you doing, George? What's going on?
I'm doing great, man. Just fantastic.
And just as long as that hair raises up on your arm, you're in good shape, huh?
That's correct.
George, we want to talk about the last time we had you on, we talked about Linda Jones. But tonight we want to concentrate on Ray Goodman and Brown / the moments, whatever the case may be. Tell us about how you got started with them, and then we're going to move around the room. Everybody will introduce themselves and come with their question and or comment. How did you get started with Ray Goodman and Brown?
Well, first, let me tell you something that people do not understand. When I first got with this guy by the name of Larry Roberts. Now, this was before I met Ray Goodman and Brown.
Okay.
I was doing an album on the OJ's Back on Top. And I was on an airplane and I started to write this song, Not on the Outside. I had gotten, so you think my heart's made of stone, and when you're near me, there's no reaction. Well, you're wrong. From the tip of my toes, my love for you steadily grows, not on the outside, but on the inside, strong. So I had, by the time I landed from West Palm Beach, Florida, to New York, where I had my office, I had come up with those words. So Larry Roberts was working with me, and I told him I needed him to help me with the song.
Okay.
So Larry put some words in it. We changed a few words, and Larry got in there with me. And then we had an argument, and Larry left my office and he went over to All Platinum Records, and he took the song and to Sylvia Robinson.
Okay.
And this was before I met Ray Goodman and Brown. And then about 6 or 7 months later, I heard the record on the radio with Ray Goodman, the Moments.
Right.
The song Not on the Outside was created by George Kerr. But
Wow.
Sylvia Robinson put her name on that song. Sylvia had absolutely nothing to do with Not on the Outside. It was
Wow.
yes, it was written by me and Larry Roberts. That's
Okay.
how that particular song came about.
Okay. Okay.
Larry
But George,
was no relation to Sylvia.
that was George. That was a common practice in back in that time, because I know that Barry Gordy was accused of that. I know that Gamble and Huff was accused of that. So that was a common practice, and then we can go back even further than that with Frankie Lyman and some of the other great artists, if you will, that wrote or had songs that had nothing to do with the people that they put their names on it. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Mm.
Now, one more thing I would like to say too.
Go ahead, George.
All the songs, when I went to All Platinum Records, I want to say on every song hit that I had over at All Platinum Records, Sylvia Robinson put her name on it, and she never produced or wrote a song with me. But all my big hit records, her name is on them.
Mm.
So that means that she gets paid the royalties whenever it's however it's split up. Is that right?
That's correct. To this
Wow.
day, from 1960, let me see, 68, 69, all the records, Ollie Racing, Where Your Pain, all the big hits that I had, her name is on it. And she gets, to this day, she gets half of the royalties on all of the hits that I had.
Wow.
Wow. She's passed away, hasn't she?
Yes, she is.
Yes, I'm writing a book about the people that took advantage of me when I was out there. You know, I never
I'll be
wrote a
close to
song.
that, sir.
You know, I never wrote a song with Sylvia Robinson, but her name is on all my songs.
Right.
So I'm writing a book, and I'm a tell-all book of who took advantage of me while I was out there in the music business. The music business is one of the most corrupt businesses in the world.
Right.
And it's a shame. I just want to say this. It's a shame that people like Ray Goodman and Brown, Billy, and all of those other artists has to be on the stage, you know, with walking canes and different things. And the reason why they're out there is because their royalties was taken from them in their early days.
Okay.
They had made enough money to take care of them and their families for life, but the monies was taken from them.
Okay.
So they have to do personal appearances or they can't not make it. It's a shame.
Gotcha.
It is.
Gotcha. And this goes to the conversation that we were having prior to coming on the air tonight, that some people, even though, and I think it was Drew who brought that up and said, some of them have the passion to continue on. Yes, the passion is there, but some of them are in a position where they have to. They must go out and perform in order for them to live like they're normally living. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Good point. All right, I'm going to step back. I'm going to let you guys introduce yourself, Diane, and you start it off. Introduce yourself and do your question of concern.
Oh, I'm Diane Parker. Mr. Kerr. I've heard before that Sylvia Robinson wasn't giving people their royalties, but now you confirmed it. You know, like the who was it? The Sugar Hill Gang.
Yes.
Yes, they were. You know, they were. Didn't they sue them? I know somebody sued them.
Well, the Sugar Hill Gang sued them. Yes. And I want to say this also, which is very, very sad. Hank, Big Bang Hank, an original Sugar Hill Gang. Okay, when he died, they had to take up a collection to bury him.
Mm.
And he had one of the biggest records in the world.
Yeah.
They
That's
did not
right.
get paid.
Wow.
Wow.
Mhm.
But you know what, George? I know we know that you're telling us about a specific situation at All Platinum. This thing has happened in this music business forever. You know what I mean?
Yes.
If you look at the stars before them, you know what I'm saying? Whether they had drug situations or whatever. Look at all of those folks who monies had to come from neighbors and friends and other areas instead of coming out of their pockets that they should have had, you know, to
Correct.
be able to take care of stuff. So this is not anything new, except it's new that you're giving us a section from All Platinum, you know, that
Correct.
happened over there.
Yes.
Good point, Diane. Good point. Jay?
Hey, good evening, Mr. Carr.
Yes.
I'm Jay Francis, and I'm gonna tell you that song, "Not on the Outsiders." I love that song. I love to hear it every time it's on the radio. But a question I have for you: have you ever been considered for the Songwriters Hall of Fame?
Ooh, good
No, I
question.
haven't. No, I haven't. But I thought that I should have been mentioned, you know, with the songs that I had produced, you know, and wrote. But I just thank God that I went to Motown and they taught Barry Gordy's sister, Lucy Wakefield, taught me about publishing. So when I left, Motown, I went and at least I have in my catalog 500 songs and that I wrote and 350 songs that I published. That's one of the reasons that I was able to live a nice life, even though they took over a couple of $1 million from me. I still was able to, and still my royalties continue to take care of me beautifully. You know, so I was fortunate. God took care of me, you know what I mean? But all the people that I know from the Delphonics and the Stylistics and all those different people, you know, they was taking advantage of it.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Good question, Jay. Good question. You got another one or what?
Yeah, I was wondering if any of your songs have they been used in commercials.
Oh my goodness. You know, my songs was they call me the godfather of hip hop because my song has been sampled over 450 times. From
Wow.
you can name mostly everybody that somebody in the rap business right now have sampled my music.
Okay.
Wow.
You know, so all my songs mostly have been sampled.
Cool.
Like Kanye West, in his late registration album, he sampled Ali Racer with Your Pain by the Whatnots.
Right.
And it was one of the biggest records on that album.
Yeah.
And it was one of my songs.
Lord, you for that.
Drake, all of those guys sampled my music.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Good question, Jay. Good question. Kevin, moving over to you.
Good evening, George. My name is Kevin Powell, and I want to welcome you into the podcast. Thanks for sharing a lot of information that I didn't know about. Before we get started, I just want to show you something. I traveled 50 miles to buy this record for Linda Jones.
Which one?
That's when I stopped loving you. I drove 50 miles to buy that record.
That's incredible.
I had to pay $40 to get it, which I didn't mind.
I was with you.
I want to tell you about that record.
And I only know she's my all-time favorite singer. All time.
Well, Linda Jones was out of all the artists that I produced, you know, from the OJs and all of them, the only one person that went in that I took in the studio that I did just one take on was Linda Jones. I did a second take just in case something happened to that one, but I always used that first song, you know, the first recording that she did. She was one of the most fantastic artists that I've ever met. You know, she's the only artist that I took a 40-piece orchestra in to record on this song, I Who Have Nothing. I don't know whether you heard that.
Wow.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, I took a 40-piece orchestra in there, and Linda did it in one take.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yes,
Wow.
she was a fantastic artist. And after I recorded, you know, the Hypnotized, you know, nobody wanted it. Took me almost 3 years to get you know, to get someone to take it. Nobody heard the record. They didn't like it.
Because she was so different than she wasn't sounding like a Motown artist or what have you.
That's correct.
Yeah. Well, we can actually say that it was Linda Jones who was responsible for bringing you to the Escorts.
That's correct. I was producing the OJ's, you know, album, Back on Top. And Linda, you know, came and wanted me to go to the prison with her because her brother was locked up in prison. And they was having a talent show there. And that's when I went with Linda to the Rahway State Prison to listen to her brother John.
Right.
And I wasn't impressed at all these different artists coming across. But then this other group came, and the guy says, "And now we give you the Escorts." And the reason why they call them the Escorts was because in a maximum security prison, they had to be escorted. A guard had to escort them from one part of the prison to the other. So they call themselves the Escorts. So when I listened to them, I love the group because Goose Pimples, when I like something, Goose Pimples come on my arms. So I said, I got to record them. And my wife says, "George, do you know where we are?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "We're in a maximum security prison. And you talking about recording them?" I said, "You got to be out of your mind," she said. But after almost 3 years of 500 letters to the prison officials, they granted me permission to come in there to the recorder. So, you know, perseverance, you know.
Awesome.
Awesome
Awesome story.
You know, perseverance.
Awesome story.
Hey,
Awesome
George.
story.
Well, before I let you go, could you clear something up for me?
Yes.
It's the reason why the Moments changed her name Ray Goodman and Brown because of Sylvia, some kind of legal.
I'll explain that to you. Ray Goodman and Brown went overseas in England, and they went to the sub-publisher over there and found out that they had 2 records that sold $1 million over there. Jack in the Box was one of the records, and they said, "Well, we never got any royalties on that." They say they showed Billy Brown and Al Goodman the books where they had paid Sylvia over $600,000, and when they went back over to the States, they confronted Joe and Sylvia. And Joe threw him out of the office. So they left there and went over to with this other lady. But Joe had the name Moments copywritten. So they had to change their name. So a guy by the name of Lonnie Youngblood said, "Why don't you call yourself Ray Goodman and Brown. And that's why they named themselves Ray Goodman and Brown, because they could not use the name Moments.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Good question, Kev. Good question. Let's move over to the professor.
Good evening, Mr. Kerr.
Good
My
evening.
name is Sharon, but they call me the professor. Thanks for
Okay.
coming back and joining us.
Glad to be back.
The Moments is one of my favorite groups. And I learned about you writing so many of the songs. Is there a reason that even with them and the Whatnots and Linda Jones, that a lot of the things that you wrote were ballads?
Yes, I was a sentimentalist. I always liked the slow music. So that's what I concentrated on. And that's what came to me, these ballads, and Ray Goodman and Brown just fit. I mean, Billy and all of them, they just fit right into what I like to write. So the Whatnots and Linda Jones and the Escorts, those groups, just fit the type of music that I like to write.
Well, it did well. It worked for me.
No, that's right.
I'm glad you like it.
Thank you. I still play them.
It's amazing. I never thought that the songs came to me so easy. I said, I know this music anybody could do this. I thought, it wasn't anything that I thought I was doing special, until the people started to buy the music and like my music.
Now, for the lineup that you have now, I know Billy Brown is the only surviving original member. Is Kevin Owens still with him?
No.
Okay.
Oh.
I thought Kevin sounded just like Harry Ray.
He sure did.
Yes.
He sure did.
That's a good point.
But George, wasn't there a sort of a dispute about the last time that Kevin was with him, that he didn't get paid his royalties, which is why he didn't want to come back the next time they asked him?
Well, Kevin never sang on any of the hit records, so he was never supposed to get any royalties.
Okay.
He was not one of the originals.
Okay. I thought I read something like that was on. I just wanted to, put it out there.
No.
His money would have been made strictly from the touring.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. Good question, Professor. Let's go to Drew. Drew?
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Kerr, thank you so much. Hey, Mr. Kerr, I'm Drew. Thank you so much for sharing these stories, first of all.
Okay.
My question is, one of my favorite Moments songs is Girls.
Uh-huh.
Now, you did have a hand in that, correct?
No, I did not produce that. Really, Harry Ray produced that record. That was one of the records that went gold over in England that Ray Goodman and Brown never got a dime from.
Okay. I was going to ask you, whose idea was it to pair them with the Whatnots?
Me.
Okay.
Yeah, I said, and basically what they were doing was just saying, hey, Whatnots. But that
was brilliant because, at the beginning.
On the record. They were not
anywhere
on the record.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Okay. Good question, Drew. Moving over to Lamar. Welcome, Lamar. Good to have you, bro. Lamar.
Good evening. Yeah, I'm here. Good evening. My question is, why did some of the early Moments leave the group?
Why?
Why did some of the early Moments leave the group? The first
one.
Okay. Two of them. One was from Washington. I forget his name, and who was the other one? I forget his name. One of them was into drugs, and the other one would never be on time. So they got rid of them and brought in Harry Ray and Billy Brown.
It was Eric
Mark Green.
Senior,
Green, right?
Richard Ross, and John Morgan.
John Moore, yeah.
Yeah.
Moore, yeah. He was Sylvia's what?
Brother-in-law or something.
Brother-in-law, that's right. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So they're
Big pardon?
What'd you say, Lamar?
go ahead.
You okay?
So the early reason was because they was on drugs. What
One of them was
kind
on
of drugs
drugs.
were they on?
No, Lamar, he said that one of them was on drugs and one of them was always late.
Yeah. And so Joe replaced them. with
Okay,
Billy
okay.
Brown
Okay.
and Harry Ray.
Right. Those are stories that I keep saying this every week.
And was it easy to find a replacement?
Well,
Was it easy to find a replacement? Well, the guy Larry Roberts found Billy Brown.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
okay. But you know what's interesting, if I could just inject here, is if you're in a group, let's use Otis, for example, from the Temptations. He always had his eye out for somebody if there was ever a need, somebody got sick, or if something happened, which is how he came up with Dennis right after David's situation, which is right after Eddie left, he came up with, the other guys in the
Damon.
group. Yeah, Damon, yeah. So everybody is always looking out in case something should happen. They're always looking at, well, maybe we could use this person, maybe we could use that person. But it was Robinson who discovered these guys and brought the other guys in.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Pretty good. George, your experiences with the Moments, I know they didn't reach the level that they did with Linda Jones. Even though Linda Jones's life was cut short, you still received a lot of positive reflections from Linda Jones. What are the reflections that you received from Ray Goodman and Brown?
Well, Harry was one of the smoothest singers and Billy Brown that I've ever recorded. Also, I wrote this song. I wrote this song, "All I Have," for them. The record did 600,000, and just because he wants to make love, I produced songs. And what was it? It's about 4 other songs that
Lucky
I produced
Me.
on them. Lucky Me. And the song Lucky Me came. Now this song right here was my when I proposed to my wife and she said yes, I said lucky me. And do you know Sylvia Robinson had the nerve to put her name on there as a writer?
Oh my goodness.
I mean,
Not good.
that right there, I looked and I saw that, and those were lyrics that I wrote to my wife, saying I was such a lucky guy to, you know what I mean, for her to, she was going to wear my ring and all that stuff. And I look at the record, the label after it came out and everything, there her name on there with the,
A lot of crazy.
It was crazy, man.
Yeah.
Lucky Me was, I love that because it was my proposal to my wife.
Okay. Great story, George. Great story. It's as you and I have talked about over the years and back and forth. This is a great business because it brings so much pleasure and entertainment and love, I guess, to everybody around the world. But there's so many dark stories behind the doors that go on that just make you shudder. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's almost like it's not enough out there for everybody, that one person's got to take it all. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Now, there's stories about Barry Gordy. There's stories about Gamble and Huff. There's stories about Sylvia and her husband. There's stories about anybody who hid up, and we don't have to start there. We can even go back, even back further than that.
Yes.
You know what
Yes.
I mean? Like I
Yes.
said with Frankie Lyman and all of that kind of stuff.
Correct.
All of these guys who started these companies only wanted to make the best for them, let alone not concerned about the artists themselves. And the artists had to go out and fight for it, which is not only doing the entertainment part, their clothes and their travel,
Correct.
then they got to fight for what's automatically should be there.
Yes.
China.
Wait till we get Billy Paul's wife back on, because he had to wind up suing Gamble and Huff to get what he owned, what he should have gotten, and a lot of the Motown artists as well. D.D. Sharp will tell you the same thing about Gamble and Huff. So and I'm not knocking Gamble and Huff. All I'm doing is just showing you guys the examples of where the artists should have just gotten what was theirs, and everybody would have had a nice day.
Correct. Right.
Yeah. This is very important, even in music.
Yeah. Who's got a question or comment? Professor, go ahead.
Did Sylvia write any songs?
You know, I don't want to tell it all, but I'm going to write a book. But I'm going to tell you, Sylvia Robinson was a visionary. You know what a visionary is? She could see things. She knew a hit record when she heard one, but Sylvia Robinson never produced a hit record. Now I'm going to tell you. Let's go to Pillow Talk. The song Pillow Talk,
Right.
was written by Michael Burton. He wrote that song. Sylvia.
And he never got paid for it?
Okay. The song Shame. Donnie Elbert wrote that song. Sylvia didn't, but her name is on it.
Wow.
This book I'm writing, I'm telling everything that went on when I was at All Platinum. I'm going to tell it in detail.
I can't wait to get your hands on that copy, sir.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
I'm going to tell it. But I'm just saying, Sylvia Robinson was a visionary. She could see things, but she could hear a record. Now, I had some misses over there, but on the misses that I had, her name wasn't on it. She could hear the records that was going to be hit records.
So you're saying George, the ones that weren't hit records for you, her name was not on it. Only the ones that had your hit records, the only ones that were your hit.
Correct.
Wow. Her hand was in the cookie jar all the time, wasn't it?
But I'm telling you, I'm going to tell it, man. You know what I mean? I was supposed to have 50% of all platinum records, and it was taken from me. And in the book, I'm going to tell how they did it and how slick they were doing it, taking it. That company was supposed to have been built for me, for Joe Robinson and my children. That's what it was said when we sat at that table. When I came, I didn't come looking for Joe Robinson. They came looking for me. I was already a success before I ever knew Joe Robinson and Sylvia ever existed. I had a big hit record with the OJs, I'll Be Sweeter Tomorrow, and I had Hypnotized by Linda Jones, and I had a record, Message from a Black Man, that I was selling out the trunk of my car. So I didn't need them. They sent the gangsters for me. You know what I mean? When the distributor found out that I was selling the record out of my car, out the trunk of my car, they called Joe Robinson. Joe Robinson called Morris Levy and said, George Kerr, this guy George Kerr, is a distributor told me that he's selling a hit record out of the trunk of his car. And Joe called Morris Levy, and Morris Levy sent the gangsters to find me, and that's how I got to All Platinum Records.
Wow.
I'm gonna tell the whole story. And when they brought me there, we sat down in a restaurant, and Sylvia said, and Joe said, look, man, we're going to build this company for our children. And then I started to bring people there and cut hit records and hit records and hit records. Joe was in a Mustang. He was driving a Mustang before I got there. And then all the records that I brought there and the people that I brought there, the company flourished.
Okay.
And then they get a mansion. But I'm going to tell you, this book is going to tell from the beginning to the end.
Okay. George, if you don't mind, let's just switch gears a little bit. Oh, I'm sorry, Lamar. I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand. Go ahead, Lamar.
Yeah,
Lamar, go ahead.
I wanted to know with the newer people with the newer ones that's coming up that you know, what would you tell them that they should know and be aware of?
Good question. Good question.
It is a good question.
Yeah. First of all, you must get you a musical attorney. You know, don't give away your publishing on your song. Sometimes you may have to give up part of it, but don't give up publishing on your songs, and don't give up writing if you can. If you can, keep your writing and part of your publishing. You know, that way, no matter what happens, at least you got something that you can fall back on. But don't trust nobody. There is no trusting in the music business. You have to have paperwork.
It's a shame. It's a shame. For
Because
this part,
it's one of the most cutthroat businesses in the world.
Yeah. That's very well put, George. Good question, Lamar. For this to be such a beautiful thing, and I'm talking about music, and then on the other side of it, on the back side of it, on the B side of it, it's such a cutthroat business. That's a shame. That's a shame. George, as I was going to say, I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about you taking Little Anthony's place and Little Anthony and the Imperials. How did that come about, and your time with them? How did that come about?
Okay, I was washing my car, and this guy by the name of Sidney Barnes told me, he came by and says, George, I read in the paper, in the Jet magazine, that Anthony was leaving the Imperials, and they was auditioning for a lead singer. So I said, wait a minute, man. Let me finish washing my car. Let me go over there with you. So when I went over there, there were about 20 guys over there auditioning for Anthony's part. So then, to make a long story short, it wound up with just me and Sidney battling to open, to see who was going to take Anthony's place. So that next day we came over, and Richie Barrett started to play Wish Upon a Star. And I sang Wish Upon a Star, and then Sidney sang it. And I sang it again, and Sidney sang it, and then he chose me over Sidney Barnes. That's how I got it.
Okay. What was your tenure like with the Imperials?
Oh man, it was really something. Ernest, Clarence, and all of them were so beautiful with me, man. He was nice and everything. But Ernest gave me a hard time when I was on stage. He didn't want me to leave them. You know how you go down with the microphone and try to mingle with the audience. I was doing that at the Apollo, and I went down there, and Ernest Wright came and grabbed me by my shoulder and pulled me back. The people thought it was in the act, but he was pissed with me because I was down there singing. And he told me when we went back to the dressing room, he said, let me tell you something. He said, don't you ever do that again. Don't you get away from us. Don't you take no play from us. This is, Ernest gave me a hard time, but Clarence and Sammy Strain, man,
Oh wow.
oh man, we were buddies. We were very close, man. We did some nice things together.
Okay. I know about your career, and that's one thing I wanted to throw in there. That it's not only about Ray Goodman and Brown, but your career. Lamar asked a great question about your advice to any of these new people that are coming in the business. That's very good advice to give them. Very good advice. Seeing, and we were talking about this before we came on the air tonight. Seeing the condition, the physical condition of some of the artists today.
Yeah.
Your comments about them would be what? And I'm talking about the canes, the wheelchairs, and that type of situation there as to why they're performing now. What would your statements be?
It's just heartbreaking. You know what I mean? It's heartbreaking because they sold enough records to have royalties. To have royalties going on just to right now. They should be all comfortable. But the majority of them that's out there is out there because if they're not out there, they can't earn a living.
Right.
It's pitiful.
Right. It is.
It's a shame.
It is. Even though we, the public, and myself included, we want to see them, but I have to come to grips with this. In my mind, it's like 30 years ago, 40 years ago when I saw my damn town. You know what I mean? It's not the same thing that I'm seeing now. Even the voices have changed, the musical scale to accommodate. You know what I'm saying? But it's just not. It's not the same now. It's just not the same.
Have you heard Gerald Levert lately?
Eddie Levert.
Eddie Levert. Have you heard him lately?
I have not, but I've heard reports of.
It's pitiful.
Yeah, I've heard reports of. Yeah, I've heard reports of. And I don't think that any of us, even though we have those great memories at the Uptown and the other place that we don't want to see somebody that is half a shell, if you will. Or if I'm using it, you know what I'm saying? Because then it looks like it's a pitiful type thing, and you walk away with not negative thoughts, but not as positive, if you will. You know what I mean?
Now, in other words, Eddie shouldn't be out there. He don't have to be out there because he's okay. He's all right. I don't know why he's still out there.
Yeah, I've heard about him forgetting the words and phrases, and I've heard about it. I haven't seen him, but I've heard about it. And that part makes it a shame. Yes,
it is.
You know what I mean? That part makes it a shame.
But the majority of them out there it's got to be out there.
George, you told me you heard it. I have not had the opportunity to hear that. Billy Brown has a brand new single out. Tell me what you think about it. It's called "I Found a Love."
It's Ray Goodman and Brown, and it's The Moments.
Okay.
I think it's a very, very good a record, and it's Billy Brown, and Billy Brown still has that voice. I mean, he hasn't lost anything with that voice. He sounds like Billy Brown of the 70s.
Okay. Well, I have not had the opportunity to hear it as of yet, but I wanted you to, some input on, you heard it. We talked about it earlier. You said you liked it. So to you guys, Music Lovers LTD, Billy Brown, it's called The Moments or whatever, has a brand new single out, and it's called I Found the Love. So if you want to look it up and check it out, that would be great. It'd be great. Anybody else got anything you want to throw in? George? Go ahead, Drew.
Oh no, Mr. Kerr, I was going to ask you about the period when Harry Ray came on the scene, for the moment. Could you talk a little bit about how you felt, what you thought about him? And it seems as though when he joined, their hits increased even more.
Well, when Harry came to the group, he came with such inspiration, and he believed in Harry Ray. He believed in himself so much, and he took direction so well. You know, you could give him the song, and he can look at it, and you tell him how you want it and the whole bit, and then he says, "I got it." Then the guy started playing the piano and everything, and he just fall right in and bring your words to life. I mean, his voice, he had such emotion in his voice. You know,
yeah, that's special lady.
Yes.
Wow.
He was fantastic. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Good question, Drew. Good question. Jay, go ahead. I'll come to you in a minute, Kev. Jay, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you that "I'll Be Sweeter the More" is one of my favorite songs, and Ali highlighted three versions for us a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
They were all great versions.
Yeah.
And another thing I want to say is an hour is not enough with you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. You guys are so talented, and you know so much about the music business, and you know so much about my music. I just love talking to you guys, and if they were talking about that we are the artists and writers and all of them, the stars, radio stars. If it was not for people like you, there would be no need for people like me.
Yeah. And when you do your book tour, make sure you have a stop in the Philadelphia area, okay?
Absolutely.
Yes, of course. Each one of you gonna get one signed. I'm gonna make sure you guys get the copy. Get each
Thank
copy.
you.
Thank you.
George.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, George. I'm not gonna ask for too much, George, but maybe in the last chapter you could give me my own chapter. You know what I mean?
Okay. You know I got to talk about you. Best of the best.
Who was that? Who was it? Lamar or Kevin? Kevin had a man.
Hey George, like Ali has his oldie show every Thursday night, and I'm always constantly bugging him about playing "That's When I Stopped Loving You" with Lydia Jones. I know he gets tired of me asking you. And one other thing, are you planning on bringing in new acts to the Philadelphia, Delaware area?
Beg pardon?
Are you planning on bringing in new acts to the Philadelphia or Delaware area?
No time soon. I just finished an artist by the name of Sandy Young, and also a young guy from the Rahway State Prison who was a rapper. So I put that together, and I'm going to be releasing that in about another month.
Very good. Look forward to that.
Other than that, I won't be doing anything like about bringing in the artists. But I just want to say the song, "That's When I'll Stop Loving You." Let me tell you who's in the background with that. The 2 Poindexter brothers and me, we're doing the backgrounds on there, and everybody think we're girls.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, but it's the Poindexter brothers and me.
How about that?
I asked him that a while ago because that's one of my favorite songs, and they are up above the clouds on that song. And I had to find out who it was. I definitely had to find out who it was. And now, George, one of the Poindexter brothers are passed on, and one is still alive.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Great background arrangement with that, George. Great background. But y'all go do 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 do. I mean, it's up there. It's up there, man. It's really up there. Lamar, you got a question?
Yes. When you go into when you go into the prisons, do you have to bring your own equipment?
Well, when I went into the prison, I did all the music outside, and I took a portable recording studio inside the prison, and I recorded the group in a psychiatric ward, which was soundproof. That's the only soundproof in the prison. So I recorded them in a psychiatric ward in the Rover State Prison. But I brought the music. Yeah, I brought the music from the outside, and I recorded the whole album in 14 hours.
Oh.
It's amazing.
Mm.
Well, it ain't like the guys had any place to go. That's for sure. You know what I mean?
That's one way of putting it.
Go ahead, Professor.
Do you still sing?
Well, I'm releasing a song. It's going to be my farewell song, and entitled "Gone Too Soon." You know the song that Michael Jackson sang, "Gone Too Soon." I'm going to be singing the song, and I'm going to be talking about all the people that played a major part in my musical journey. And you'll see each picture of those people that played a part in my life while I sing the song, "Gone Too Soon."
Oh wow, that's awesome, Joy. That's nice. That's
Can't
nice.
wait to get my hands on that.
That's very nice, Joy. Very nice. Very nice. Congratulations on that.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That is really awesome. Okay, we're about 8 minutes out. We're gonna go around and everybody say their closing comments. Start with you, Lamar. Lamar.
Well, I just want to say thank you for enlightening us on many things. And it's wonderful to know that you are going to make one more record so that we can hear some good tune, voices, and good music. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. You are very welcome.
Drew.
Mr. Kurtz, thank you so very much for joining us the second time. And I'm quite certain we're going to have you back the third time. You may as well join us. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I am a part of you guys. I really love all of you.
Yes.
Well, we're definitely going to have you back. We tried to keep the conversation tonight on the moments, which we mostly did, but we still got to talk about the OJs. We still got to talk about the whatnots. With MD is in and all of these groups. So we're definitely going to have him back. Jay, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kerr. And like I said, we really enjoy having you. And I'm looking forward to you being like a regular guest on our show. Time permits for you.
I love that, and I'm glad that you guys like my music. You know, it makes me feel so good to know that people like yourself like my music. Thank you so much.
Kev?
George, I want to thank you for sharing your life experiences with us. When you was talking about the escorts, I never knew that they were actually prison inmates in jail. Because when I used to see the album cover, I thought it was just a prop. But tonight, that was a reality.
That was reality. Yes.
Yeah. Heck of a story, Kev. Heck of a story. Well, just before I move over to the professor, George, tell us real quickly about the three CD set that I think that would be a good, something for all of everybody to know about and get in their possession.
Well, I have a 3 CD set about my life entitled George Kerr Hypnotized with Music. And I also have an audio book that I've released. So an audio book and a regular book that I have out.
Where's that available?
You can get it at
Amazon?
yes.
Amazon.
Amazon. Okay.
The 3 CD set. I have that, and I've listened to it. I'm telling you guys, you would love it. Everybody here would love it, and all you folks out there listening, you would really, 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 really love it. I'm telling you. Professor, go ahead.
Thank you so much for writing those songs and picking the people to sing them, because it definitely works for me.
I just want to let you know I am so glad that you like my music, and God bless you.
Love it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's unanimous over here.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Di, go ahead, Di.
Good, Mr. Kerr, it was a pleasure listening to you tonight, talking to you. You know, like Sharon said, your music, I play some of it every day.
Oh,
You know, every day.
thank you so
Play some
much.
of it. Yeah, because when
You
I
guys
was
are
growing
not.
up, my mother didn't let me go nowhere, so all I had was music.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
yeah. Well, George, we got a couple of minutes here, and let me say my little words here. You know how I feel about you. We've been friends for some years now, and if there's a question about something about your music or whatever the case is that I have not known or whatever, I'll give you a call. But let me say to everybody listening, and that's not only to the Music Lovers LTD, that's folks out there in the world that are listening. This guy, and I'm not saying it because he's my friend, this guy is an awesome individual, an awesome person, an awesome human being. The thing that, if you think about it, and I'm going to try to make this as quickly as I can, if you think about writing the prison for 5 years to ask them a question to be seen so you can present your question to them, think about the perseverance that took. Think about the perseverance of him going back and forth to the prison, spending his money to get these guys to sing on a record, producing the record, then the royalties and everything that came from the record, he gave back to the prison to make it all, to make everything even. Okay, think about the different artists that he's had the opportunity to deal with and build their lives with. This guy is an awesome person. He's an humble person. He's a very, very nice person. And again, I'm not saying that because he's my friend, and I'm not saying it because he's got a check coming to me in the mail. I'm telling you that he is just an awesome. And to sit down and talk with him, the memories that he shares and that he's had experienced are just totally different than hardly any other person that I can talk about. Hardly any other person. And the good part about it, he's a human being and he's down to earth. Those combinations you don't get all the time. You know what I mean? You don't get them all the time. So George, my brother, thank you so much for everything that you've done and that you are continually doing. I want to hear what is that? Hey, 3 minutes to Hey Girl. I'm going to put that on next week. I haven't heard that in a while. I just want to put that on. 3 minutes to Hey Girl.
Okay. God bless you.
You got to get that song to me by the one that you done with your daughter. You got to get that to me. I ain't got it yet.
I'm going to get it to you tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Well, my brother, again, thank you so much, man, for spending time with us. And Music Lovers LTD, could we give George a nice round of applause, please?
Thank you.
You're welcome, my brother. Thank you, and all the endeavors that you are going in. You got some friends here, and myself and the Music Lovers LTD support you in anything that we can possibly do. And being a part of anything that you put on, we'd love to be a part of it. Just give us a heads up and let us know what's what.
Okay.
You got any closing comments, George?
I just want to say thank you so much, and your audience. I love your audience. I love everything about your group. And I want to say, Ali, you are the best of the best.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Thank you much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
All
We
right.
got about a minute before it's time to go. Good night, everybody. Have a great weekend. We love you, and next week we're off. We're off next week. We'll see you on the following week. Stay tuned to Facebook so we'll know what's going on, and you'll know who the guest is. Take care. Love you all. Now.
Good night.
Yes.
This is Music Lovers LTD.